Anaesthesia: adding, modifying and removing intakes. In this guide, we'll look at how you would document intakes such as infusions, cell salvage and so on. To document intake, click on the intake icon in the top toolbar. A pop-up window will show the different items you have to document against. The option to add an intake will be the default as you have not started anything, but later on the modify and remove function will appear if you've already started an infusion. In this example, I would like to administer some Hartmann solution, so I'll select this from the options. The intake pop-up for the Hartmann solution will appear. You can confirm that this is a new bag as indicated at the top. It is an infusion, and you can then set the volume rate that you would like to give. With this rate, as well as the time of starting and finishing, it will then calculate how much volume you have given. If you have a weight recorded, as will be the case in a real situation, the weight-based rate will also populate. Other things you can document includes the route of administration as well as the site of administration. You can also add comments within the comments field. If you would like to change the timing of your infusion, there are several ways of doing this. You can adjust the start time field by using the up and down arrows. Alternatively, you can select the field and enter a custom time. As well as this, you can also move the green bar, which indicates the start of the fluid, on the time grid. As you notice, as this is changed, the volume changes as well. Once you are happy with this, click on Start Bag. And now if we look at the main anesthetic chart, you can see that within intake, the Hartmann solution is documented. The black bar represents when it was started and the rate, and the value on the left hand side gives a cumulative total of what's being given so far. If you would like to make any changes to intakes that you have already documented, there are several ways of doing this. The first is to hover over the black bar, right click, and choose Modify and then bag in question. Alternatively, you can view all the intakes you have by clicking on the Intake tab, and now you'll notice that your other options are available. So if you click on Modify Admin, you can see that the Hartmann solution is currently listed. This will be particularly useful if you have multiple infusions that's being given. Click on the fluid that you would like to change. You'll be presented with the Modify Intake pop-up window. You're free to change any parameters in this window. For example, let's change the rate of infusion, as well as changing the timing of the infusion. And once you're happy with any changes you've made, click on OK. If you would like to stop an ongoing infusion, you can do this in several ways. The first method would be to find the infusion within the anesthetic grid, right click on the bar and click Stop for the respective fluid. Secondly, click on Intake, click on Modify and choose the infusion you'd like to stop. In here you set a stop time, and when doing so it will work out the cumulative volume that you would have given based on the rate. You can change this value, so for example if you actually gave 100 mils instead, you can go ahead and change this. It will adjust the rate accordingly. Once you're happy with those changes, click on OK. You may get a warning, especially if you stopped an infusion midway. If so, action this appropriately. Now back to the grid, you can now see the infusion that was given, the total volume that was administered, as well as a graphical view of when the infusion was started and stopped. And you notice the bar doesn't have a tail anymore, representing it has stopped. If you mouse over it, you'll get more details about the infusion. If you have documented an intake in error and you would like to remove this, this can be done in a couple of ways. First is you find the infusion on the grid, right click on the solid bar and choose Remove for the respective fluid. The second method is to click on Intake and this time choose Remove from the radio buttons. Click on the infusion that you'd like to remove. This will now remove that intake from your record.